I mean, I gotta tell you, Break Every Chain,
Uh,
I mean, More Than Able. I mean, these are just songs that be on the daily playlist for me, you know. I mean, you have just been a part of so many of
wow.
our spiritual journey. You've gotten us through. You've been a huge comfort. I mean,
Wow.
that's some power you got over there in that voice.
Thank you. That's a blessing to hear because sometimes you don't see the back end or the back end of the story.
Yeah.
You know, and so while I am helping to usher people through their seasons in life, you know, you have to go through them yourself.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about the book, and I know we'll get back into it, but that gave me an opportunity to share some of those stories behind the scenes, the story behind the song, you know.
Yeah.
So to hear how those songs have been a blessing to others, it's always encouraging to me. Always.
I mean, Break Every Chain, you said you didn't see that this was a Grammy award-winning hit. You didn't see it.
Yeah, I did. You know what? I knew that song would impact people's lives probably, and I'm thinking probably just within the walls of the church. You know, like, hey, they're going to sing this at their churches. People going to shout a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was so much bigger than that. There were people who needed chains broken in every culture, in every across every bridge. You know, my mentor used to say, you know, this is my spiritual daughter Tasha, and she's a bridge to the nations. That was like 2011, 2010, and I didn't understand it then.
Yeah.
But after releasing Break Every Chain, there was like this revelation behind what he was saying that, hey, Tasha, this is bigger than the four walls of the church. There's a calling on your life to bridge the gap. You know, bridge the gap and bring people into the awareness of the presence of God. And I have embraced that calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you were growing up and you said church, if they told you couldn't go to church, that was your punishment.
Yes.
Like for us, it was like, you can't go to the mall. You can't.
Right.
And I grew up in the church, but baby, if you said we got a day off,
right? You celebrating, right? Yeah, that was my story, and I don't know. You know, I didn't understand it then as a kid, but I just had this hunger. Like I want more of the experience. I just had this hunger to be in the presence of God. And I didn't have language for it back then, except I just want to go to church. I want to go to choir rehearsal. I want to go to Bible study. I want to go to vacation Bible school, whatever, Sunday school, you know. I just wanted to be there, and now I have a greater understanding that there was this hunger being birthed in me because of my calling.
Yeah.
You know, I had to have an anchor back then that I was digging deep just for the weight of the assignment that I have now.
I mean, your father, everybody in your family's pastors and got churches. Right. Your father breaks away to go start his own church. You started your own church. I mean, this is like the bedrock of your life.
Yes. Yeah. Church. And then I married a church boy. Man, but I think it's so much bigger than that. Kenny and I have this thing where we're like, hey, we understand our purpose now. It's to bring God everywhere we go, and it may be desolate places. A few years ago, I remember this story. I don't know if I've ever told this before. I remember I released an eyewear company, and I named it after my dad. It's called Fritz Eyewear. And that first year, I went to an expo. It was my first time there. We were in Vegas, and I walk into this arena, and, you know, it could be me sensationalizing, being dramatic, but I felt like the wind was just blowing, and my hair, back then I had all that hair blowing in the wind. And I walk in, and I really, really sensed the presence of God. Like, hey, Tasha, you're walking into another door or another dimension of what I've called you to do. And I remember just kind of feeling that I felt fulfilled. Like, okay, this is outside of the four walls of the church. And I walked past this booth. There was a guy there. He was working for a company that was, I guess, just launching their eyewear company. And he said to me, oh my God, it's Tasha. I never thought I would meet you.
Wow.
And he said, I listen to your music every single day. Tears start running down his face. And he said, but I never thought I'd meet you because, you know, who knew that you would walk into an expo like this? Or who knew? And immediately I thought, there are some people who may never come to my church.
Yeah.
But do I accept the assignment to go to where they are? And I really, really felt at that moment like, hey, I embrace this fully, that there are some people who are called to who I'm called to, you know, called to serve. Maybe it's through worship or just the word of God or just my presence. And I have to go to where they are, you know, so I accept that assignment. Yeah.
I mean, this assignment from the very beginning has just, I mean, you spend so much time with Dr. William Murphy, Bishop William Murphy over at the Dream Center.
Yep.
Yeah, and so you cultivated your craft a little more up under somebody like him, who is also a singing pastor.
Oh my goodness!
Listen,
incredible. Imagine that. Like, I mean, having to come behind that, I was like, oh God, are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, masterful.
Yeah.
But I want you to go back because when Break Every Chain comes out and it just skyrockets and it takes you to the top of the charts, millions and millions of sales on this album. And then it takes you to the Stellar Awards first, takes you to the Grammys.
Yeah.
But I want you to tell the story because I was watching one of your interviews and I was like, oh my God. Right. I was like, I had you on my speaker while I was cooking. Then I had to go look at the screen. I said, well, wait, let me stop and look at this.
Wow.
The story of your father, because you all were so close. Your father and your mother met at 13 years old. And so your father suddenly passes away as soon as you get the Stellar Award.
Yeah. You know what? And it was, my dad was the guy. He was like, always super excited. Anytime I said, hey, Dad, I got to go speak, I don't care if it was at somewhere 20 people going to be there. He just thought that was the most amazing thing because he cultivated the communicator in me. So before there was ever the worship leader, Tasha, to him, you know, I preached what they called my trial sermon when I was 10 years old.
Wow.
So Daddy put me up and was like, hey, you going to preach this? You know, and I felt like it was pretty good, you know, to be a 10-year-old. But I remember him just being so proud that, hey, I put this in her and I'm watching God do this all over the world. And once this worship thing just started blowing up, you know, I would call him and be like, Daddy, I got to go sing here. And he'd be like, oh, baby, do a good job. You know, Daddy, I got to preach this Sunday. I knew it. You're just, you know, what you going to preach about? So he was just always, I was a daddy's girl, like to the core. I would often sit like at my dad's feet, sit in his lap. Whenever he showed up, I was like and he wasn't a man of very many words. Like he didn't talk a lot. Now, sometimes he would get into this little comedy thing, have all of us laughing. But for the most part, when he spoke, we all like leaned in because it was going to be profound. It was going to be wise. He would always tell me, baby, stay at the feet of Jesus. I mean, ever since I could remember, that would be the thing that he would say to me. And now I have this understanding that while he was telling me life's going to get tough, even in his passing, I had to like hinge on his word that stay at the feet of Jesus because it's going to get tough and you got to have a strong anchor because life going to start lifing. And it may not be that way right now at 3 and 5 and 6 years old, but it's coming. And I think that was him preparing me even for him passing. And I was fairly young, you know, I was in my 30s. And it's like, hey, I felt like I had so much more time with Daddy, you know?
If that blessed you, trust me, you've only scratched the surface. There's so much more wisdom, truth, and transformation waiting in the full conversation. Click the link in the caption below to watch the entire interview. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Vault Empowers Talks.